The Grey Man does whatever a Grey Man can. Can he make a comic feed? Yes, he can. He just did. Watch now, a video from Grey Man. A video from Grey Man.
Hey everybody, it's me again. A lot of people liked my video from yesterday where I went round Leigh-on-Sea in Essex. Showed a few pictures from that. We're going to Shoeburyness later in the week. I'll show you some more footage of Shoeburyness. That's another place further up the coast. A bit more beachy, I think. But I'll show you the sort of footage when I get to it. I've got to do my podcast today, my Patreon special for all my headbanging patrons, all 4 of them. Well, there's actually 5 because another guy who sends me stuff, donations via PayPal. Let's go through the comics that I've read this morning. Yeah, these are all ones that I read this morning. This is quite a good dream sequence in it of Superman. It's really quite funny. It turns out to be a dream, but there's an alien living next door called Xavier, who is affecting his powers. So when he's got his Superman costume on, he's Superman. He's got powers. When he hasn't got it on, he's got no powers whatsoever. So he spent a week as Clark Kent, not doing anything as Superman, and then he wants to spend a week as Superman, not doing anything as Clark Kent. But he's having this dream at the beginning because he was playing Clark Kent for a week and not doing any crimes. His conscience was playing him up, and he's gone for. In his dream, he's walking with Lois, and some bloke gets run over by a car, and he's just completely ignoring it in his dream. And Lois says, "Clark, don't you think that poor man could use some help? He just gets hit by a car, this geezer." And Superman goes, "He's beyond help now, Lois. Say, I wonder if it's going to rain." And then a plane crashes into a kid flying a kite. And Lois says, "A pity about that boy with the kite." And Clark says, "At least the kite got away." Then a man comes running up begging for help, and he rips open Clark's costume and breaks his shirt buttons. "Help me, syndicate killer's after me. Think I'm somebody else. Get me to a police station. Hide me. Do something. Please, Superman, use your powers before they kill me." And he says, "Why did you rip my shirt? I paid $35 for that, plus tax." And then he gets shot. Lois says, "He's been shot. That man over there killed him." And Clark says, "Still, no reason to rip my shirt." "Poor fellow, I hope they catch his killer. Wonder if I can charge the shirt to my expense account." It was very amusing. Oh dear. Anyway, so then he starts to spend his week as just Superman, ignoring Clark Kent. And he has to deal with some guy called Solar Man, who's using a solar-powered costume that he's created, knowing that Superman has powers from the sun. He thought he'd do the same thing, and Superman overtakes him by surreptitiously charging up his solar suit with heat ray vision, and then it overpowers. A couple of Batman books. Rather strange villain, Captain Blimp, I think his name was, or General Blimp or something like that. Basically, he has a blimp, a Zeppelin, which is used to. The Zeppelin is strong enough to actually cart off battleships. It would have to be absolutely enormous to be able to lift a battleship, wouldn't it? Thinking about it, because although a Zeppelin is lighter than air, it'd have to be huge. That went on much longer than my arms can show. I don't know what I'm doing that for. It'd have to be a lot bigger than that. But to be able to lift the weight of a battleship off the ground. But yeah, apparently it was in stealing battleships anyway, and Batman and Robin managed to capture the villain. And this has got a couple of short stories in it. This one, the first one, it shows the home life of Bullock, which is disrupted by a street gang, and he proceeds to duff a few people up. One of these stories had a Batgirl backstory in it as well, which was okay. It wasn't too bad. And in it, Commissioner Gordon knows her secret identity. I didn't realise that was a thing. Obviously, I've read more recent ones where he had no idea that she was Batgirl. And on to my new adventures as Superboy. I've got a few of these to read over the next few days. And yeah, it was a good enough story. I like these ones. I know they're from the 80s. They are more Silver Age in sort of style, like good fun stuff. It's a bit slightly silly, like Astral Boy. Astral Boy is this guy. He's one of the schoolmates of Clark, and he's determined to let everyone know that he's Astral Boy because he wants to be raised up from obscurity as the class wimp or whatever. And every time he tries to, Superboy stops it by, at one point he's saying, "I'm so-and-so," and Clark super speeds past, and because he somehow super speeds the words away or something, so it's just with the backwash of his speed or something like that. But another time he goes to take off his costume, to reveal himself in front of the whole classroom, and Superboy overheats some chemicals with his X-ray vision that causes the whole room to fill up with smoke. Silly stuff like that. But so that's all the comics I've been through. I've read today. Watched a horror movie last night called Come to Daddy. That was quite fun. I'm not too sure. I should do reviews of horror movies that I've watched just for the horror content. But I don't know. Maybe I'll get around to that one day. It's like I do enough stuff already, really. But anyway, so I'm gonna do my podcast today. It's the Patreon show, which is from my patrons, and all my Patreon shows. I do one every month. This is going to be the 33rd Patreon show that I've done. They're always themed shows, and for the next two shows for my patrons, it's going to be based on The Outer Limits, the old 60s TV show. So I'm going to crack on with that. And if I find a smaller, less bigly channel, I'll do a jingle at the end if I get time. But I'm going to pass you over to me from 2 days ago to show you some of my comics from box number 10. Won't that be nice? Over to you, 2 days ago, Gray. Make sure you show these guys and girls some lovely comics. Hi! Thanks for passing over to me from 2 days in the future. This is me from 2 days in the past, before I went to my dad's. Showing you some comic books, and today's comic books I'm going to show you is Black Orchid. Black Orchid Book 1 by Neil Gaiman and Dave McKean. It's a little bit wishy-washy, this. A bit too ethereal kind of going on. I much prefer the Black Orchid backup stories that I've been reading in the Phantom Stranger issues that I bought recently. But yeah, I remember reading this at the time and I was like, I'm not really feeling these stories that much. So this was a free part of Black Orchid. Can't even remember what her name is. And now she got one of those kind of mysterious kind of origins. Wasn't there at one point there was a few people who might be Black Orchid or something weird like that. And like even her origin, I mean in the backup stories I'm reading in The Phantom Stranger, doesn't tell you who she is. She just appears, fights crime. There's one story that I've sort of started reading, because I haven't got all the Phantom Strangers yet, so I've not read the whole stories, where like, there's a bunch of women pretending to be her in order to con a rich heiress. They're basically pretending the Black Orchid is played by all different women, and they offer her to join their Black Orchid squad, but it's really so they can get into her father's bank. Right. Anyway, Vertigo did a Black Orchid title in '93. It starts in '93. The creative team on this one: Dick Foreman, Jill Thompson, and Stan Woch. Or it could be Woch. W-O-C-H. Woch. Anyway, interesting covers. Strange covers. Not necessarily covers that tickle my taste buds. They don't tickle my comic book taste buds that much. I'm not sure who does the covers. Reminds me very much of some covers for a band called Paradise Lost. There's a couple of covers that with this kind of looking style on them. That's just weird. Even the logo is kind of funky. The way the orchid is written there. I think she's played more as almost a Swamp Thing-esque forest spirit. I don't know if she had how many. I don't think other than this one, I don't think she ever had her own comic book before. I don't know if she did anything. I need to get the first appearance of her. You know what? I think I nearly had a chance to buy that in the charity shop. I thought it was a bit. I thought it was selling it for too much. I thought that's a bit expensive. I wish I bought it now. I'm sure it was Black Orchid. What was that? What was it? Oh, DC Comics, but not DC Comics Presents, but one of those spotlights or something like that. And I'm sure I can't remember what it was now. But it wasn't in very good nick. I kind of wish I'd bought it though. But yeah, I was a bit skint at the time actually, so I was trying to do the sensible thing. Black Orchid, look at that. Crazy covers. Crazy covers, man! Crazy covers! I think there were some psychedelic elements to the stories as well. Like the Black Orchid had, I don't know, some kind of plant-based powers that are able to send people on stoner trips or something like that. Let's have a look at the inside art for a bit. Yeah, all a bit... See, look, she's all a bit ethereal and... She doesn't even look like the old Black Orchid. Yeah, she looks like she's... If that's her, that's not the Black Orchid that we know from the old comic books. And it is Vertigo title, so you got to expect some strange elements. It's not a superhero book, you know. I can't remember if she fights crime or not. I think there might have been some terrorists or some bad intentioned adventurers in the jungle in one issue. I seem to slightly recall that. I think they might be after capturing her actually. I think she's like this. Kind of reminds me a bit of Rima actually in a way. Though Rima isn't depicted in quite such an ethereal looking way, she's still kind of like a jungle girl, kind of like has the power, she can charm the animals. But yeah, in this one she just looks like she looks more like a spirit, like a fairy spirit. If you can see that properly, I can't quite tell how it's coming out. But anyway, let's just show you the covers. Yeah. I remember reading it and thinking it was a bit of a chore, It's like I'm not actually basking in the glory of these stories. When I get my monthly pull or weekly pull, whatever. I used to always get my comics monthly. I didn't even know they came out on a Wednesday. I didn't even care because I never got them weekly. I just got paid monthly. I go to the comic book shop once a month, pick up all my comics. So these people who are going on about, they've changed from a Wednesday to a Tuesday when comic books come out. I'm like, yeah, so? So what? If you put them in, you get them on a pull list and put them, get your comic shop to keep them for you. You can just pick them up, on Wednesday when you're going for your other comics. This definitely reminds me of the Paradise Lost albums. I should Dave McKean, did he do the Paradise Lost covers? I should go and, was it Shades of God? I think the one is called. Very similar art style. I might have to have a look at that actually. It's not important. I say Dick Foreman. Did he do any other comic books? It's not a name that I remember. Got a fair run though. About 22 comics here, looks like, in this run. But looking at that, would you pick that up off the shelf? It's such a weird look. I suppose it depends what your comics you're into, doesn't it, really? If you want superhero action, I suspect this was not the comic for you. But very interesting covers to look at, very different. But, I'll have them read them again one day, hopefully, if I live long enough. It won't be top of my list of ones to read again though, if you know what I mean. I kind of do want to read them again to see what I think of them as an older person with maybe more sense. Oh dear. Ooh. Spoiler, I just read the last page of the last comic. So, it didn't enlighten me any, but, you know, it looked alright. Yeah. See, is there any... Oh, there's two of them now. Talking about dreams. There's some soldiers. Firing guns. But what? I'm not sure. Yeah. Well, I don't know, maybe this is the original Black Orchid who's like kind of like evolved into this more ethereal spirit type woman, and it looks like possibly she's forgotten who she was. It looks like she's a bit of a identity, who am I kind of thing. Anyway, that's enough of me, enough of my waffling and showing you comic books. I shall be back tomorrow, which will be today for me, but tomorrow, no, the day after, no, it will still be tomorrow, but it'll be tomorrow for you. It'll be today for me because I'm going to film it right now. And in the future Grey, who just passed it over to me earlier on, it's going to be 3 days in his future. Confused much? Anyway, until next time, may all your news be good news.
Zoey and Noodles, Zoey and Noodles. Some people can't do jingles, some people can't draw doodles. But you can go and watch the channel for Zoey and Noodles. There are a couple of cute cats and there's some comic books.